Hey, good morning. So if you guys are local to Summers, because that's where I am, it is a super dark, rainy day. So I brought in some extra lights just to kind of give our space a little bit of love today. So we're going to do our makeup. We're going to apply with brushes. I am super excited. So I hope you've had a chance to kind of like catch up. I kind of gave everybody a break yesterday to kind of catch up and watch everything. And if you have been using the makeup for a while and you have not tried to apply with your brushes, this is my favorite way to apply. Okay, so step one, we're just gonna get right into it. I am using a damp perfector sponge and this is wet. So I talk about this all the time because if you are not using this step yet, this is like the secret weapon for your makeup lasting even longer. Your makeup will last really long using this makeup. It's great. If you want it to last even longer, try adding these two things in. So I always talk about it. I use the makeup for probably right around like 2 months without adding this in. And then once I added it, I can't not share with you underneath my makeup, over my makeup, any pictures that you see. I am using a damp perfector sponge to pull off anything extra and to make it look super natural. I am setting it with setting spray at the same time. I just spray the sponge, and that is what all my pictures are, or any live that you see. So I always like to let you know. But as always, you can come in and customize anything because that's the beauty of this. You decide where you're at and what you want to order and when you want to order it. Okay, cool. Okay, so really quick. This sponge, I'm sorry, my makeup space is a little bit of a mess today. This sponge right here, this is the travel sponge, and it is not by any means tiny. So I always like to show everybody. It comes with this case. This case is awesome because it'll clip to your bag. So everything can dry when you're on the go. Or if it's just like right inside of your makeup, otherwise like your makeup table. Otherwise it's sitting inside of a metal tin, which is really cute to reuse. I love to upcycle, but these were low stock. So if you are interested in that, that's why I was letting you know. Those are low stock. They go quick. I do not know if they're going to replace them on the site once they're gone. I hope so, because it's my favorite one. I prefer that one over the gray one. Okay, so here we go. Brushes or not, I do go underneath my eyes and apply a little bit of my highlight color. So I am using Mango, and I'm gonna kind of like, still kind of tap this underneath my eye, okay? And right on top of my eyelid. I am using the blend brush for this. This is one of the lightest brushes for an application. I apply it with using the little tiny side, and then I flip it over with the fluffier side, and I instantly blend it out. It is kind of wild that it is orange, but this is where the color science kind of comes into play. So if you are struggling with any spots or anything like this underneath eye darkness, don't hesitate to reach out, because I use the makeup without any underneath concealer again for a while. So when I went ahead and ordered the sponge and the setting spray, I ordered this brush and under eye concealer. That was all part of my second order. So I didn't immediately come in. I did try the makeup without it first, and I just decided I wasn't getting the coverage I wanted. And so I went ahead and I start applying this. I do like to go ahead and put it underneath my eyes first and kind of create this barrier before I put the rest of my makeup on. Now, because I'm here and I'm letting you know, I do also, when I'm doing my makeup off camera, I do like to throw a little bit of this Mango, and I just grab it with the fluffy side. And I do like to kind of throw it on some extra red spots. And it will also help kind of conceal like my blemishes. So Mango also helps with redness. It's a great product to have inside of your palette. Now, the cool part is come summer, this just becomes my main color, which is crazy, right? So it's so nice to kind of have products that can double as your blush or double as your main or whatever. So all I'm doing is just, you can see I just use that really fluffy brush. I also just like to show you that you can use that fluffy brush for your application before you go ahead and grab like a thicker brush or a different brush. Or if you've already been using the makeup and you're like, hey, I want something for the weekends. So just imagine that was my main color. I mean, we could be done and out the door. Like, how great, right? So your makeup gets to be whatever you want it. It can be like full-blown glam. It can be right in the middle, or it can be super minimal. All with the same palette. It's just switching your brushes. So the brushes are huge, 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 huge. Okay, so what we're going to do when I apply with brushes, I apply a little differently. And what we're going to do is use the 3D brush, and I'm going to use the fluffier side at the end, and I'm going to tap into my main color. And you can see I'm not swiping, but I am tapping in a couple of times, and I'm just kind of apply it all over. And this is, sorry, I have a little bit of fuzz. This is Sandy, and Sandy is my main color. And what I'm going to do is just basically tap this all over. So think of it this way. You tapped your dots all over your face and you let it warm up for a second, right? So that's all I'm doing right here is I'm kind of just tapping this main color all over, but I'm still letting it warm up to my face just a hot second, okay? And I'm really careful of the areas that I'm tapping over that have the mango. So that would be underneath my eyes, over my eyelids, and any of those areas I want extra coverage. And so I'm just doing that, okay? So I'm just basically tapping everything all over the place. And I'm gonna come back through and basically just slowly start blending it. And you can pick and choose what areas you feel more comfortable sort of like sweeping it like I'm doing right there, or where you wanna continue to just sort of tap it or pounce it into place, okay? So if I was going slow, this is all I'm doing. I'm just going a little bit faster, which you will eventually too, right? So as you feel more comfortable, you can just start to go a little bit faster. I am gonna take whatever is left over and just drag it down on my neck. But I don't go in and sweep any extra makeup on. So you can see when I apply it this way, I use more of a stamp feature. You're going to see that it is a little bit on the darker side. So I normally will take the sponge and set in between every layer, right? But you don't have to. You can wait to the end. But I like to show you this when I'm live on camera like this, because some people may just want a main. So I'm going to come through and I'm just going to set it like this. That's my neighbor. And my dog. So my neighbor's putting her daughter on the bus, and Roxy always has to bark and let me know that there's a bus outside, because that's like part of her duty. So it's like so fun. Okay, so here we go. Here's your main layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through and I'm going to grab the detail brush. So if you've been using this makeup for quite some time and you have not scooped up this brush, it is fantastic for your contour. This is going to be like push-up bra for your cheeks, okay? So we're going to come through and I'm going to pull Indigo, all right? And I am going to come through and we are going to basically put this on our cheeks. I'm going right on like the top of my cheekbone, but I'm sort of putting it on in this manner where it's pushed up, right? Can you see I'm kind of like pushing up? And I'm sort of like blending it all out, but I'm just gonna leave it because again, your contour is the thickest of all of the products that you're gonna get, okay? And it's not thick by any means. I hate saying these words, layer thick, because this makeup is far from any of those things, but the contour is meant to sort of stay in place because it's meant to define your cheeks. It's meant to put in the shadows. It's meant to sort of lift and hide and camouflage. I mean, that's the beauty and the fun of makeup. So with that said, because the contour doesn't blend quite the same, when I put it on with the brush, this is exactly how I do it. I'm almost like fanning it out, and the brush itself is so amazing. Can you already see what that's doing? The brush itself, it's so amazing. It kind of leads to sort of giving you that more dense sort of vibe, right? But you can see I'm kind of putting it on thick, and that is because I'm still allowing it to warm up. So I'm kind of like pouncing it on. It's going on all of those same areas where the dots go. So there's no new areas, but I just love it because watch this, watch. See how it just immediately starts to define your jaw? Put this one on your wish list. It's so good. I did not get this one inside. I always call this my kit. I did not get this one inside of my kit fast enough. And the second I started using it, I'm like, oh, every woman needs this. Because can you see how fun it is? So I'm just like layering it right underneath my chin, right? Or not layering it, laying it. And I'm just dragging whatever is left on my brush down. And again, we're letting all of these areas warm up. I'm going to also grab a little bit and I'm basically going to stamp it, but you can kind of like tap and drag. And we're just going to define out our nose at the same time too. So I'm just going to take it and sort of like, and you can stamp it like this, or you can kind of drag it. Either way, it's going to give you sort of the same. And I'm just going to kind of connect this little piece at the end. Okay. Cool part, you just flip it over. Did you see? It's the same brush and I'm just kind of lightly sort of blending it in as I go. Okay. I'm taking my brush and I'm not going to clean it off. I'm not going to do anything, but I did not re-dip inside of the contour. So now all I'm gonna do is kind of take it and start blending this in a little bit more. It's been just a little bit and it's like warmed up on my skin a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of run along all of those spots and just kind of blend that in. Now, I want you to see that I'm leaving it the way it is, okay? Because this is really scary. So if you over blend your contour, I want you to try this tip. Take your contour and do what I just did. Take the sponge and come back over on all of those spots with the damp sponge and allow the sponge to do the final blending around all of the edges of your contour. Can you see what just happened? I did not wipe away my contour by doing that. All I did was hit up those harsh edges because that's what you're blending. You're trying to blend in those edges, right? But keep in mind that the contour is meant to stay there. So it's almost on there like a blush. So when you do it first like this, it's kind of really easy to be able to learn where all those go. And if you go too far down, don't worry, I'm going to show you a trick at the end because I always have this, I have this new sunspot brewing, which stinks because I started off as a blemish and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's not really a blemish. I'm getting a new sunspot. Welcome. Because my 45th birthday is right around the corner. And so that's what happens, does it not? All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to switch over to this blush and bronzer brush and I'm going to dip into my bronzer next. I love this brush because it's super duper fluffy, but this is what I'm going to use like 1 or 2 taps. I'm going to come in. And I picked a shirt, I'm gonna put this underneath my cardigan, but I picked a shirt because I wanted you to see that I can take this and just kind of drag that 1 or 2 little like taps inside and it's gonna make this makeup just kind of like look super duper natural. And I'm wearing brown today with black, so that's why I went with something a little bit on the warmer side. I do love having different contours to mix and match. If you haven't started switching up your contours and you don't know where to start, reach out to me and we can have a conversation because I do love switching back and forth from like indigo to shadow. I like taking olive and ash together. I like taking henna and ash together. So I have a lot of fun mixing and matching my contours, no different than mixing and matching all of my different blushes, okay? So speaking of that, we're gonna go dip into Renaissance. I've been obsessed with it. One of my Seint sisters went ahead and posted a picture and I was like, oh, I love that color. I haven't used it in a while. So this is like the satin version of Black Cherry. So if you've been using Black Cherry and you have not tried Renaissance, it is such a gorgeous color. And all I'm taking, this is the blush and bronzer brush. I just flipped over the other side from the bronzer. And then I just take it and I sort of marry the two together. But is that not such, it's like such a gorgeous, gorgeous color. It's so, so pretty. It's like this deep sort of a it's not even purple and it's not brown. It's kind of like right smack in the middle, and that's why it is such a favorite. And all I'm going to do is basically go right on the top of that contour, and you can see I'm kind of just like blending it straight through. Yesterday we had a little bit of nice weather and it made me think for a hot second spring was coming. So I'm feeling all the vibes. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of whatever's left over right here on the corner of my cheeks. And I'm just going to kind of basically take whatever is left over and I'm just kind of like bringing it all the way down. You do not have to do that. That is just something that I like to do. I'm doing my makeup on camera. I like to keep my makeup on camera live with you as much as how I really do it in real life when I'm not on camera, because that's what you see with my pictures, right? I am going to dip into black cherry to compare for you guys so you can see the difference of black cherry. So when you take those two and you layer them together, you're going to get the shine and the gloss of the black cherry, and you layer it over this Renaissance color. It's so pretty. So super pretty by itself, super pretty on its own. All right, so you can take your damp perfector sponge. I have not resprayed it, but all I am doing is just, again, I'm just going around those edges. It's just blurring those edges. If you have not used this as your secret weapon, you got to get it. You got to get it. If the black one runs out and you have to get the gray one, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with the gray one. I just like the black one better. It's just a little different texture. But either one is cheaper than any beauty blender you're going to find at like Ulta, and they're better. They're better. So these are under 20 bucks, and all the other ones that I've seen are over $20, and I actually prefer this one better. So that's why I share that with you. So I don't share anything that I don't personally love myself. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe this off so I don't accidentally do that. Now I'm going to go back into the blend brush for a second. And I'm going to tap into White Peach. This is my brightener color. So when I am applying my makeup, I tend to apply my brightener color in a different order when I do the dots. When I use this with a brush, I always do this step last. And I come into my forehead and I'm just lightly sweeping this into my brightener color. And again, I switch up my brightener color. I do use White Peach the most, but I do like to use Versailles. I like to use Linen. I have fun mixing and matching all of my colors. I'm going to go straight down my nose. I want you to see how my face instantly starts brightening. I am going to kind of come like this underneath the Cupid's bow area and kind of like right on the sides, like right here on the laugh lines, right? And I'm just going to do a little bit on my chin, and I just kind of feather that out like that. So that instantly brightens it up. Now, ready? I'm going to come in underneath my eye, and I'm basically going to tap the most in that corner. So again, think of how we're doing the dots. This is the same thing. And I'm just going to drag it underneath my eye, and I am lifting right there. So I'm concentrating this part, and I'm blending like that. It instantly brings this brightness right to the center of your face, right? So when you're doing it, you have to make that noise. This is the secret. This is the secret. This is the contouring secret and the brightening secret that you see everybody doing when you're looking at modeling and, you know, anybody with pictures like that. These are the things that they're doing. And so you can get this look. You can get this look every day to go to work or Target or wherever you go, and you don't really have anything on your face. It is like so minimal, but can you see how it kind of changed the cheek? It sort of changed the look. If you feel like you need to come back in, I usually take whatever is left over on my brush and I just kind of like re-tap that center of my cheek. You can also make sure that your blush is more angled. It kind of chisels your cheekbone out a little bit. I do have round cheeks, and I did kind of take my contour and sweep them that way. So I always kind of like come right back through with whatever brush I use, and I just kind of like re-tap right there. That way it's not more product, it's just kind of blending it back, okay, in case I went too close. And like the nice part is you can take this really fluffy brush and you just go right down your nose and stuff like that. Now, since you have it out, If you want to come through and chisel out your cheekbone, just take a little bit of your brightening color. Again, I do this with the dots, but it's the same concept. You come through with your brush and you just lightly kind of sweep that up and you kind of just sort of blend that all. And it's like snatching up your cheek, and you can see it really defines your cheekbones. So you can come straight under and you're almost doing like a Nike swoosh. And I had somebody that uses the makeup say that to me once, and it has stuck straight through. It is totally like a Nike swoosh, okay? All I'm doing is just taking that light fluffy side and I'm just blending it underneath my eye. And you can always come back and take the sponge and you can blend that if you need to. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave this as is. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle that little area. I do like to take the blur brush. It is one of the smaller brushes. I do like to tap into my main color, and I do come back at the end and I do go ahead and apply a little bit more makeup in any of the areas at the very, very end. Any acne scarring that I have, or any like fresh little friends that are annoying. And I will come kind of like, blue, I just stuttered. I will come back and sort of kind of extra conceal those. The cool part, the fluffy side, I do dip that into my vanilla dusting powder, and I do come back and I do set those areas, okay? So even if I don't use the vanilla dusting powder anywhere else, which I'm going to, I do set those extra areas just like that with this little tiny brush. This is the blur brush. It is a favorite. I do use it to blur my blemishes. That's how I think of it. Like, yep, grab that one 100%. So we've been using a lot of the brushes today. But it's so great, right? Okay, so let me show you another one. This is the line brush, and I do love this one because, again, it's two-sided. So, I mean, if you're gonna grab a brush, and especially if you're on the go, you're gonna tap this other side into either your contour or your eyeshadow or whatever you do for your eyebrows. I just like to use this because it just frames out my face. Like see one side? It's not a lot. I don't use a lot. But I use this side to brush it, and then I just flip it right over, and I use this side to kind of like fill in the blanks here. So it's not a whole lot, but like what a difference, right? Like such a difference. So I'm coming in like that, and I'm just filling in my brows. Super easy. So there's another brush, the line brush that we use. These are all the brushes that I use on the daily. Okay, so before I do my eyebrows with you, I am going to come through. This is the wash brush, and I love this brush. Again, it's two-sided. So if you're going to buy a brush, pack the punch. Like, at least you can scoop up two at the same time. And I'm going to come through. You can get the vanilla dust with the powder brush, and this is what the powder brush look like. I don't love it. I just don't love it. So many ladies love this. So please don't think because I don't talk about it that it doesn't mean that other women don't love it. I just really prefer this one. And here's why. I kind of come through and I set underneath my eye like this. This just kind of makes the makeup last even longer by using the vanilla dusting powder, right? But it also kind of gives it this sort of a matte finish, but it's not too cakey and it's not too thick because I still want my makeup to look really, really natural. So you can see I'm using it and I'm sort of like pouncing it on. It's translucent, so it does not matter what your skin tone is. It's going to be able to work for you. And I'm just going to kind of like fan this out. And I'm going kind of on the slower side so you can see. And I'm also using it, I want you to see I'm taking the little tiny side and I'm using it on my eyelids as my primer for my eyeshadow, because this is going to help your oily eyelids. It's going to help your makeup last even longer. And we're going to do a quickie little eyeshadowy look today. So again, that was the wash brush. So we've used quite a few brushes, right? But this is the best part. Like, take one and add your favorite that you saw today to your wish list. And that's how I did. I just kind of ordered one every time I ordered. I was like, what brush do I want next? Until I got them all. Some people are able to scoop up all the brushes all at once, and that's really great. I had to piece all mine together. So, you know, whatever you're able to do that you want to do, I think that's kind of the beauty of it. And you can kind of come back in and you can kind of keep adding to your kit, right? Okay, so here we go. I just caught this in the corner. So hang on one second. I just have to blend that just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so we're going to come through. These are going to be my basic go-to eyeshadows, you guys. And I'm just going to clean this off really, really quick. This is a brush tile that I have inside of my palette. I have one of these inside of every single one of my palettes, and it's awesome for the eyeshadow. So I'm just using this as a quick daily clean. I do also use a spray for a weekly clean and the soap for a deep clean once or twice a month, if I remember. I'm going to come into Cupcake. I love Cupcake. Again, it's just a base color. It kind of melts into your skin, and I'm going to use this like all over my lid, and I'm going to travel this all the way up to my eyebrow, and I'm just going to kind of like sweep this back and forth. And there you go. Okay. I'm going to come into Basic, and Basic is basically such a neutral light brown color. It's like really easy breezy. I did flip over to the little tiny side. I'm going to go into my crease here, and you can see I'm just kind of going back and forth like on that outside edge, and I am going to drag this all the way down, and I'm going to repeat it on the other side. I am using this kind of like as a transition color, and it just kind of creates like this base layer. And this is how I love to do my eyeshadow. And I just kind of go back and forth like that. And basically it's creating like a contour on that outside edge. You can keep just this color as well. Like this is a really pretty color. If you're looking for something super, super basic, it's a great color for that. I'm going to dip into Philly. You can use any dark color like cocoa, anything. What we're going to do right here is we're going to start to darken this outside edge. So I'm basically going right over Basic. I'm basically going right over Basic. And you can see I'm kind of creating like this V, and I'm kind of going back and forth. I am sort of keeping it right here in this outside edge. Again, I always drag everything down, and I drag everything over, and that way it stays blended just like that. All that did was just create this little tiny bit of like, shadowing. So it's no different than contour. Okay, so come over here. So I'm basically like taking a little bit, and you can use any color, Philly, Trust, Cocoa, anything dark, right? Salem, anything dark like that. I'm dragging it over the Basic. I'm keeping it in the corner, and I'm dragging it down. And again, all it did is just kind of create this outside layer right here of like shadowing and definition. And then I always take whatever, you know, whatever brush I have. So this is the fluffy brush. This is the eyeshadow brush. And I basically just fluff it up like this. I'm keeping this very, very simple, very, very simple, very basic, very go-to, right? Because I love that. I'm going to come into Crush. Crush is one of my go-to favorite shimmers because it literally looks like skin. So I love the fact that this is just such a natural, very light skin color. And you can see I'm applying it with my finger because I'm sort of dragging more of the shimmer. And you can see I went back and forth on it twice. So don't be afraid to go ahead and layer up your eyeshadow to give the look that you want. So I just basically cleaning this off, and you can see I'm like tapping it over. So if you haven't tried that and you're trying to keep it super simple and super natural, like that is like such a secret, okay? You can also use one of the microfiber towels. I have those like on my nightstand, my makeup thing here, and I love it. I'm going to tap into Sabrina, and I'm going to use Sabrina as a very light inner eye pop, okay? and it's just bringing just a little bit to the table. You can use Drift for more of a pop. You can use Unicorn for like a super pop. And I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to run that right underneath my brow bone like this, back and forth. Okay, and then I'm going to take the fluffy side and I'm just going to basically marry all of that together. So you can see I don't overly blend. I just kind of apply everything in all those like all those spots, and I just leave it. Okay, now don't feel like you can't come back in. And if you're like, I just want this to be darker. So go ahead and just tap a little bit. I like to sort of complete all of my eyeshadow before I put my mascara on. So I will sometimes take a picture of it to make sure that both sides are even. That's a little trick too, because sometimes both sides are not blended. But again, like the contour, don't overblend, okay? Now, here's another secret. Take the fluffy side and dip back into basic. That was your transition color. And then come right back over like this on that outside edge, right? And what you're doing is almost creating this illusion by tapping and blending of a lift on the outside of your eye. So especially if you have a hooded eye, which most women do, what you want to do is basically keep your eye open, but you're just applying it right here. Use your transition color. Now you can use the dark one like the Philly. You can totally use that one when you're ready to go with like more of a smokier eye. But if it's just your everyday, use your transition color and that'll go ahead and give you that pop. Okay, take that blend brush one more time. Tap it into your main color. You can use either side. I'm just using the little tiny side, and all we're doing is cleaning up that outside edge very softly. You can go in with any of the other brushes and use it more like a like definitely a more of like a starker line, I guess, sharper line. But I'm going to use this for today. And then you can use this brush to blend it out either way. So if I want more of like I use the smudge brush, which is the brush that I use to apply the dots all over. So I will take that, and this will actually give like a very sharp line. Can you see? You can like take it and drag it and it'll give you like a very, very, very sharp line. So you just dip that into your main color. If you want even more of a contrast, dip it into your brightening color. And then you can take either the sponge to blend like this very lightly, or you can take the edge of the blend brush. So those are just like two little secrets. And then honestly, I just take my sponge, whatever's left over. It's kind of on the dry side now, but it's still big and bouncy, Today I cannot speak. So today's going to be fun at work since I literally cannot speak. And there you go. So honestly, the only step I really need to do now is apply my illuminator and put on my mascara. So for illuminators today, I'm going to use Nova. Nova is just such a warm color. It's like a little bit on the brown side. It's got a little bit of a brownish tint to it. So I'm feeling spring. I'm over winter. I don't want this, rain. Like I'm good. I'm good at this point, right? Unless it melts all the snow, then perfect. So I'm just going to take it and tap a little bit over the top of my cheek. I'm using that blend brush and I'm going right over the top of basically the blush and just kind of tapping it over. I did a little bit down my nose and I'm just going to take a little bit right here on the bottom and the top of my lip and a little bit on the Cupid's bow. And there you go, guys. That's it. And so once I apply my mascara, I'll come back on. I'll take a picture for you. I did take before pictures today. I remembered. So as always, let me know if you guys are needing any help. This is like the most fun part for me, is helping you guys out. And I hope you guys are loving all your makeup, everybody that's gotten it in. So take some pictures with us and share it with us. That's like the best part. And I just want to brighten up my nose. And don't be afraid to come back in like I'm doing. If you're like, hey, I just want that to be a little bit brighter, there's nothing wrong with it. So when I'm not explaining with the brushes, I'm doing my makeup in 10 minutes or less. It is super, super fast. When I'm doing my cheetah hack, it is like 3 to 5 minutes. I'm usually like around the 3-minute mark. I'm dotting it all over my face, I'm blending it, and I'm out the door. This is my preferred way. It has more of an airbrushed look. So when you look back on my pictures, you're gonna see more of them have me applying the brushes because it sort of leaves everything in place. It defines the cheekbone area. I like the coverage, and I can still touch my face. It's still very lightweight. So when I say layer and buildable, it doesn't mean cakiness or thickness. And so that sold. And it's gonna look like this 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10:30, it does not matter. Your makeup is going to look the same, if not better, as the day goes on because it's still cream. So it's still warming up to your skin as you move. And I think that is like, honestly, I think that's like the coolest part. It's just the coolest part. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I'm like really blended right there. But like, is that not amazing? It makes my cheekbones look like I'm 24 again. So I'll take it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for popping on with me. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever after watching this, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.